Championship is proudly presented by the South African Rally Commission and its partners Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, Sasol and Dunlop. Less than 7 months ago, the cream of the crop of South Africa's top gravel road warriors arrived in KwaZulu-Natal to do battle in the first installment of this epic war. Since then, the war continued with more battles in Mpumalanga, Limpopo, the Eastern Cape and Gauteng, with many brave warriors dropping by the wayside, and now only 2 remain. This is the final stretch of the 2015 South African Rally Championship. But who are these 2 warriors still standing after 7 months of intense warfare? It was former double champion Mark Cronje in the Ford Performance Fiesta who got the upper hand over his Toyota and Volkswagen mounted rivals by winning the first 3 events on the trot. The defending champion Leroy Poulter managed to turn the tables by clinching 2 victories of his own. These 2 rivals then took on the Imperial Toyota Tshwane Rally, and what followed was one of the most epic battles ever witnessed on South African soil. Only split seconds separated the 2 until Cronje's challenge was halted with the finish line almost in sight, resulting in Poulter's 3rd consecutive victory. And with 3 victories apiece, it's even Stevens at the top of the leaderboard. Well, not exactly, but the rules state that points scored on only 7 of the 8 rounds will count, and if you throw away their worst scores to date, there's nothing separating Cronje and Poulter. And after sugarcane, forests, mud and mostly dust, the South African Rally Championship finally reached the Western Cape and the beautiful scenery around Cape Town for round 7 of the championship. This is the Toyota Dealer Cape Rally. Day 1 of the event is a spectator's feast with stages at the Killarney Racing Circuit and at the Cape Gate Shopping Complex, while a long Saturday will see the crews fly through the fast farm roads of the Swartland near Malmesbury. At this point, it's all about the title fight between Mark Cronje and Leroy Poulter. And just a few days before the event, Cronje's Ford Performance team made a very unexpected announcement.
We had a look at our weight disadvantage, and obviously the championship's getting tight and we really need to try and maximise every bit of our efforts. Unfortunately, we were just on 30 kilos overweight and we just couldn't get down to the weight that we required to get down to. And Jerry was seated alongside Yapi, and he's the perfect weight and obviously understands the team. So thanks to Jerry, he's really putting a lot of effort to get his weight down to what we needed to be, and here we are today.
For Leroy Poulter, it made no or little difference, as the current champion knew exactly what he had to do.
For sure, it's whoever now wins each event will be the champion.
With all eyes on the fight between Poulter and Cronje, don't be surprised if Janelle de Villiers steals the show like he did last year.
Let's see. I like to race here in front of the home crowd. It's always nice to see a lot of familiar faces out there, and let's see. Hopefully we can do a good job this time around.
And right about now would be the perfect time for the Volkswagen Sasol Racing squad to record their first victory of the season. Gugu Zulu has been both fast and consistent, while young gun Henk Lateghan was very unlucky not to win the previous round.
Yeah, I'll take it, we'll take the points that we have and see as to whether we can improve on that and chase down Janelle.
I've actually been here a few times. It was my first ever national, but I've never managed to find the finish of this event, so hopefully this year we'll do that.
And fitting for the McCarthy Toyota dealer in Killarney Gardens to host the start of the Toyota Cape Dealer Rally. And this will be the start order for the entire event. Enzo Kuhn will lead the field in a once-off appearance in the new Africa Developments Ford Fiesta, followed by 2 Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polos driven by Gugu Zulu and Hargen Fecken. Janelle de Villiers and his Castrol Toyota Yaris will be 4th on the road, followed by 2 more Polos driven by Thilo Himmel and Henk Lateghan. And the two title hopefuls Leroy Poulter and Marc Fournier will keep an eye on each other from 7th and 8th respectively. And the very famous Killarney racing circuit will be the scene for both stages 1 and 2, an 11-kilometre concoction of both traditional racing circuit as well as the pit complex to provide a tough challenge for the crews. Rally legend Enzo Kuhn hasn't touched the wheel of an S2000 rally car all year, so the former double champion's intentions was simply to have a bit of fun in his friend's new Africa Developments Ford Fiesta with Kes Naidu in the hot seat. But behind Kuhn, it was serious business for the Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polos of Gugu Zulu and co-driver Hilton Ofrey and teammates Hartman Flecken and Pierre Aris. Zulu is in a fight with Janil de Villiers for the third spot on the points ladder, so he had everything to gain. While Hartman Flecken has shown some good pace since his return to the sport earlier in the season, something which he was hoping to turn into a good result. They were both faster than Kuhn, with Flecken taking the early rally lead. But that was only until the Castrol Toyota Yaris of Janil de Villiers and Carolyn Swan took to the circuit. De Villiers had won many races here in the past, so the Cape Townian knows a thing or two about Killarney. And it showed as he completed the first two stages a full 9 seconds quicker than Flecken. The Volkswagen Genuine Parts Polo of Thilo Himmel and Armand de Toy was next to tackle the Killarney circuit in front of the huge crowds. But the young Namibian ran out of luck very early on when they were forced to stop to change a flat tyre. The result? More than 3 minutes down the drain. De Villiers set the benchmark time of 7 minutes 53 seconds over 11 kilometres that made up stage 1. But young Henk Lateghan showed no respect for the former multiple circuit racing champion by raising the bar to 7 minutes 51 seconds. And on stage 2, the Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polo driver did it again by going another 3 seconds faster than de Villiers. So although young Lateghan was the early pace setter, one knew that the real fireworks was going to come from the two championship contenders. Leroy Poulter and Albin Coetzee was the next car on the road, while Marc Fournier and new co-driver Gerard Snyman followed 2 minutes later. The Castrol Toyota of Poulter did indeed manage to set a new benchmark of 7 minutes 50 seconds. The Ford Performance Fiesta of Marc Fournier crossed the flying finish of stage 1 in 7 minutes 44 seconds, shattering Poulter's time by a full 6 seconds. The pressure for the second running of this stage was now clearly on the shoulders of the current champion. But it was a very broken Castrol Toyota Yaris that emerged from the back of the Killarney pits area. Poulter had made contact with the scenery, and although he managed to limp to the end of stage 2, more than 2 minutes were lost. And with Poulter running into serious trouble, Fournier went on his merry ways to claim yet another stage win. Not much of a surprise then to see the name of Marc Fournier topping the early leaderboard. But huge drama as the name of his title rival Leroy Poulter is missing in action. Lateghan did well to occupy second ahead of Janil de Villiers and Hartman Flecken, while the name of Ernie van der Walt is a welcome addition to the leaderboard. It was frantic at the Castrol Toyota section of the service park as the group of very skilled technicians attended to the stricken Yaris, but the damage was extensive. The contact with the pit wall not only destroyed the left rear of the car, but also dealt a huge blow to Poulter's championship aspirations.
Yeah, in the second run through the stage, I arrived at a corner just too quickly and just really couldn't control the car, and we clipped a brick wall, a small brick wall, and then it spun us around, so it was just unfortunate.
Luckily for the Toyota crew, the service was decontrolled, meaning they had more time available than normal to get the Yaris roadworthy, which they somehow managed to do. Besides the fact that Poulter had serious trouble, Fournier did what he had to do by winning both the opening 2 stages.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, it's still a long way to go. But we wanted to put pressure on him quite early. So you can feel what it felt like the last two rallies for me, and really seems to have has worked quite well. So let's see where we go.
With the drama of the opening two stages at Killarney now a thing of the past, crews could continue to the Cape Gate shopping complex for stages 3 and 4, where literally thousands of spectators came out to witness the action. The Imperial Toyota Cape Gate dealership played host to the start of the spectacle, which provided the thousands of spectators with the opportunity to get really close to the action. Together, these two stages only added 2 kilometres of distance to the overall schedule. But it's 2 kilometres littered with many pavements, sidewalks and other obstacles just waiting to destroy a rally car's wheels and a rally driver's dreams. The Toyota mechanics did a sterling job of putting Poulter's car back together, but he was pretty much out of contention at this point, leaving the road open for a string of drivers to battle for a top 5 position. Only Van der Walt drove well to do exactly that behind the polo of Harken Fecken. Janelle de Villiers completed the day in 3rd, while Henk Latergan made his intentions clear in 2nd position. But at the front, it was all going Marc Cronje's way as he added another 2 stage victories to his name. A full 16-second advantage to Marc Cronje at the top of the day 1 leaderboard, with not much to separate Henk Latergan and Janelle de Villiers in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Harken Fecken was a little further back in 4th, while youngster Ernie van der Walt remained in an excellent 5th. This is the 2nd day of the Toyota Cape Dealer Rally. With no less than 9 stages covering more than 200 kilometres against the stopwatch on the cards, it could well turn out to be one of the toughest days in the entire championship. And what a beautiful backdrop for the fight that we were about to witness. From Cape Town, the rally moved north to the town of Malmesbury, where the town mayor, as well as the dealer principal of the Malmesbury Toyota dealership, were more than excited to welcome the sport to the heart of the Swartland.
We are very excited to have you guys over here, and we love that.
It's a great privilege for us, and we're really excited to bring this event to Malmesbury Toyota.
And these were the first 2 battlefields. At 27 kilometres, stage 5, or Langgebens, is the signature stage of the entire event. It was to be immediately followed by another 22 kilometres of fast sweeping farmland gravel roads at Bloemfontein, just to the southeast of Malmesbury. Since day 1 of the Toyota Cape Dealer Rally was an all-tarmac affair, the decision was taken to keep the road positions and order the same for day 2, which meant that poor Enzo Kuhn and Kes Naidu were forced to be the broom that swept the road clear of loose stones. Kuhn therefore found the going slippery behind the wheel of the new Africa Development's Ford Fiesta. It wasn't much better from 2nd on the road, but Gugu Zulu and Hilton Offray were on a mission. The Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polo drivers started the day 15 seconds behind Kuhn, but he closed the gap to just 4 seconds after stage 5 and passed the former champion on stage 6. And also in the mix were young guns Ernie van der Walt with Greg Godrich, who placed the quick little Vecto Petroleum Yaris right in the middle of the battle for a top 5 position. Van der Walt may have had ideas of closing the gap to the 4th place man Harken Fecken, but Fecken and co-driver Pierre Aris had plans of their own, and that was to move even further up the leaderboard. There was, however, one small problem with that plan. The man in their sights were none other than Janelle de Villiers, who was involved in his own tussle with the Volkswagen Polo of Henk Latergan. These 2 rivals started the day just 0.7 of a second apart, and although de Villiers managed to beat Latergan on stage 5, it was only by 0.3 of a second. But it was the young polo driver who finally got some daylight between himself and the Dakar winner when he beat de Villiers on stage 6 by nearly 20 full seconds. More than 2 minutes were lost when Leroy Poulter damaged the rear end of his Castrol Yaris, so the current champion's mission was all about damage control on day 2. The plan was to climb the leaderboard, and climb he did. From 11th overall to 8th, courtesy of winning stage 5, and up into 5th overall after stage 6. But this made little or no difference to rally leaders Mark Prunier and Gerard Snyman. The Ford Performance Fiesta started the day with an 18-second advantage over Henk Latergan, and a fine stage win on stage 6 increased it ever so slightly to 19 seconds.
Opens to very long right 5, open. Very long right 5.
For Leroy Poulter, it was simply a question of how far up the leaderboard he could climb.
We're going to try and get to 3rd, but you never know.
Henk Latergan's Volkswagen was very much up to speed and competitive here in the Cape.
We took a gamble and took a longer gear ratio. Hopefully in the next 2 they have some long straights that maybe we can make up some time.
But up ahead it was all going according to plan for Mark Prunier.
Yeah, so far so good, but still a long way to go. The car feels really great, so I think we need to maintain that and see how we end up at the end of the day. So if we've got a clean car at the end of the day, we need to push, we can.
Off to stages 7 and 8 it was. Nieuwedam and Kanonkop to the northeast of Malmesbury consisted of 35 kilometres of more fast and flowing gravel roads through the wheat and canola fields that make the Swartland such a special place, especially in spring. Leroy Poulter had already rocketed up the leaderboard and all the way up into 5th overall, but this was probably as far as he could go, for now. Up ahead, Volkswagen's Herman Fecken was still doing a sterling job of keeping his nose clean, and his Sasol Racing Polo on the road. Fecken had a buffer of more than a minute over the pursuing Toyota of Poulter. This all meant that the battle for the lead would be fought between the Toyota of Janil de Villiers, the Volkswagen of Henk Latergan, and the Ford Fiesta of Mark Prunier. De Villiers was quick, but not quick enough. He started the day just split seconds behind the Polo of Latergan, but Latergan was as determined as ever and quickly opened up a gap over de Villiers to make second place all his own. In fact, 2 consecutive stage wins on both these stages allowed him to close the gap to leader Mark Prunier by a full 13 seconds. And then all hell broke loose. Prunier was given a 20-second penalty for cutting it too close through one of the man-made chicanes, which effectively handed the lead over to the young Latergan. But then the Volkswagen driver received a minute penalty for clocking in early during the previous visit to the service park, handing the lead back to Prunier.
Somewhere we made a mistake and clocked in a minute early, which means a minute penalty on your race times.
The standings were nearly turned on their head with a series of time penalties coming into play. But when the dust settled, Mark Prunier remained at the top while the name of Henk Latergan dropped to 3rd behind Janil de Villiers. Fecken was still in 4th ahead of Leroy Poulter. Stages 9 and 10 were the exact same pieces of earth used as stages 5 and 6 earlier in the day. This could make it safer as they knew what to expect, but it could also make it more dangerous as they now wanted to add more speed. Herman Fecken continued his good form by setting solid stage times to cement his position in the overall top 5, and at the same time keeping an eye on the chasing Leroy Poulter, who made it very clear that he was coming for them. But something was wrong. Poulter took too long to reach the end.
Max jump 70, max jump 150. Okay, 150.
And as the Ford of Mark Prunier passed the stricken Toyota on the side of the road, Toyota team principal Glenn Hall received the dreaded phone call.
Well, it looks like he hit the jump and landed on his nose.
A huge crash that destroyed the Yaris, but besides a few bumps and bruises, both Poulter and Albin Coetzee were lucky to escape serious injury.
We got to a section with a lot of jumps in it, and we did it at the same speed as we did this morning, and unfortunately it just threw us up and we went end over.
With Toyota's Leroy Poulter now removed from the action, it was up to Janil de Villiers in the remaining Castrol Toyota Yaris to wave the Toyota flag, and that on the Toyota Cape Dealer Rally. Fortunately, de Villiers and Swan were both unharmed, and they got back into the car to take the Yaris to the service park in Malmesbury.
The corner before I had the roll, I obviously a little bit fast, and I understeered, just clipped the fence, put the fence down, and unbeknown to me, I got a puncture there. I mean, that was the next corner after that. So as I arrived there and I turned in, the car just understeered straight into the pole, which came down, and the back clipped it, and it just flipped it over. And I mean, we rolled it. So it's a pity, but I didn't really know that I had a puncture at that stage.
In one foul swoop, both Toyota crews were reduced to spectators in just a matter of minutes. The sponsor's curse had struck yet again. But Marc Cronje couldn't care, as he was still in control of the race. But the man on the move was Henk Lateghan, who claimed yet another stage victory, his fourth of the day, to once again close in on Cronje's lead. A very different looking scoreboard showed no sign of both Toyota names, Poulter and de Villiers. Instead, the name of Cronje still remained at the top, ahead of a trio of Volkswagens in the form of Lateghan, Fecken and Zulu, while Enzo Kuhn moved up into fifth. Just 3 stages of the already eventful 2015 Toyota Cape Dealer Rally remained. What more drama could the rally possibly have in store? The answer was lots. Both the older specification NRC4 cars of Pieter Bakkes and Namibian Alan Martin were forced to retire close to the end of the punishing Toyota Cape Dealer Rally. This left Limpopo businessman Theuns Hubbard and co-driver Marie van der Walt to claim a very welcome and well-deserved victory in the NRC4 class behind the wheel of their aging Salem Group Toyota Auris. And after not driving a rally car for nearly a year, legend and local hero Enzo Kuhn was well on his way to add another 5th place finish to his long and distinguished rally career. But on the very last stage of the event, the engine underneath the bonnet of the new Africa Developments Ford Fiesta cried enough, forcing Kuhn to park the car on the side of the road. It may therefore have been with the help of 1 or 2 retirements, but in only his first season behind the wheel of the Vecto Petroleum Yaris in the premier class of South African rallying, young man Ernie van der Walt was doing all the right things and was rewarded with a career-best 5th place overall finish. So with the finish line almost in sight, the top remaining warriors were Gugu Zulu and his Volkswagen Sasol Racing teammates Hargen Fecken and Henk Lateghan, and the Ford Performance Fiesta of Marc Cronje. Fecken was currently in 3rd position overall and still had a small chance to catch his teammate Lateghan, but contact with the scenery on the penultimate stage caused a puncture. They were forced to stop, losing 2 minutes and 3rd position in the process. Lateghan's excellent pace on the gravel roads of the Swartland saw him claim another 2 consecutive stage victories on stages 11 and 12, and with just 1 final stage to go, the Volkswagen Sasol Racing driver had moved to within 17 seconds of the lead. Could he magically pull a rabbit from the hat? The Polo's rear suspension failed, shattering the young man's dreams. Fortunately for Volkswagen, they had another Polo in the running to fill the gap left by Lateghan. The one driven by Gugu Zulu and Hilton Orfrey gladly took over the position and crossed the flying finish in 2nd overall, a career best for the popular driver. And with all of this happening all around him, Marc Cronje powered his Fiesta to yet another emphatic victory. Cronje took the lead as early as the first stage on the day before and never looked back. And although he was challenged hard throughout day 2, the former double champion showed his mettle by claiming his 4th win of the season and a first for new co-driver Gerhard Snyman. Drama very late in the Toyota Cape Dealer Rally did indeed influence the scoreboard, but not at the very top, where the name of Marc Cronje remained throughout the event. Gugu Zulu recorded a career-best 2nd place finish, while Fecken made it 2 Volkswagens in the top 3. An unlucky Lateghan dropped down to 4th, while 5th was also a career best for young Ernie van der Walt. Another chance to spray champagne from the podium for Hargen Fecken, this time from the 3rd step.
The car went very well, and what can I say, 2 Volkswagens on the podium is good.
Gugu Zulu has tasted champagne many times before, but doing it from the second step for the first time must have been special.
You know, they say it ain't over till the fat lady sings, and I think she sang in our tune. So happy to be here, considering we started 7th this morning.
A flag-to-flag victory for Mark Cronje, and one that could go a long way in his title fight with Leroy Poulter.
I really couldn't, the Ford really performed faultlessly, so I'm very chuffed. My team have done a tremendous job, and all kudos to them.
So off to Limpopo we go for the final instalment in this epic battle. The bushveld around the city of Polokwane will play host to the final round of the 2015 South African Rally Championship, where one of two drivers will be crowned South African champion. But who will it be? Come find out in Polokwane on the 16th and 17th of October. Highlights of Round 7 of the South African Rally Championship was proudly presented by the South African Rally Commission and its partners, Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, Sasol and Dunlop.